First, we're going to take our box. We're going to cut it apart at all the seams and see what measurements we have to build our house from. Do that and come back. All right, once you get all those separated, let's see how big our biggest pieces here are. This one for me, since it's a small box, it's going to be a little house, I guarantee it. And I may need 2 of those, but I do happen to have a spare one already. So I will just pull that out here, and I will break down the larger sides on that one too, and be right back with you. Okay, I've got that slightly smaller box broke down, which gives me 2 lovely shapes this big. And we will see what we have for measurements here. Now on the bigger box, I end up with a measurement, find my ruler here. I end up with a measurement that is 8.5 inches. Okay. It's 8.5 inches one way, it's 6 inches the other. So basically 8 by 6, 6 by 8. Because once we take off these little pop-outs that this box happens to have, then it will truly be a 6 by 8 inch box. So let me get that done here real quick. And I'm just using the one box to help me cut out the other. I suppose I should probably be using my ruler or a straight edge for that. Protecting my fingers a little bit more. As you can see, I didn't do that. Yeah. X-Actos are sharp. Sliced the crab apples out of it, I sure did. But we craft on, because, you know, we must be crafty. Gotta stay crafty. So, let me pull those little ends off here. And then we have 2 6 by 8 inch squares for my tiny house. Yes, this will be a tiny house. And at these measurements, I think it's going to have to be half scale, which means, or even a third scale. So 1 inch equals 1 foot is 1/12 scale, which is what this will be in, that we will be working on. Half scale is 1/24 scale, and that is 1 inch equals 2 feet. Now, this being 6 by 8, if I want my rooms to be worth much, I'm going to make this 1/3 scale. So basically 1 inch is going to equal 1 yard or 3 feet for this tiny house that I work on. On the bigger one, it's 1 inch to 1 foot, 1/12 scale. Easy peasy lemon breezy. Okay, so on this, I've got these 2 panels, and I've got these smaller ones, which once I cut the little tabs off this one too, then we will have 2 that are, and I'm going to guess that this is just about 6. 6 by 2 7/8. So it is, let's be exact here. So it is 5 15/16. By 2 7/8. There we go. These are going to be the sizes of my sides, my house, and my floors. And let me get these cut off, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, I've got my pieces cut out. I've got my sides of my house, or the front and back, depending. Actually, the sides of the house. I've got my walls, and I've got my floors. So what we're going to do is then you need to decide, how do you want your house to look? Do you want it to have a point? Do you want it to be arched or curved? You know, how do you want that? Draw that on, cut that out. Okay, I got my ends cut out. I decided that I wanted to have a curved end on mine. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to lay it next to one of my side walls. And I'm going to run a bead of hot glue right along that edge. stand that up. I do happen to have a square handy to make sure that it stays level. And there we go. One wall. Now, I suppose before we get any further, you should decide where you want your windows. I know this is going to be my wall that has a little fireplace and whatnot, so it's not going to have a window to it. It might actually be a corner fireplace, so a window will not work there. But I will put windows in on my other side before I add the other wall and then insert the floor for the first and second stories. So let me get that done, and then I will be right back. Okay, I just took a quick moment to take 2 layers and hot glue them together. That's just to give extra stability for the floor and for the build. All right, and that I think I'm gonna go ahead and put in now. I've marked my line halfway up the side so that I have equal floors on top and bottom. Make sure I'm lining this up the right way. Now, don't think that hot glue is the only thing we're going to be using for this. That will not be enough to stabilize and, make it last. It will not make it last if it is just hot glue. So what we are going to be doing once we get the build all put together is we are going to be taking a combination, equal parts glue and water, or Mod Podge and water, and then some drywall spackling, some drywall compound, and we are going to mix that together into a slurry, and we are going to spread that over the whole thing along with some paper towels or toilet paper or tissue, something along those lines. To harden the whole surface, kind of paper mache like. We're basically paper macheing it. And what you see me doing here is I'm just going back over those seams on the underside with a little more hot glue, smoothing it out a bit, and making sure it's really along that seam wall, top and bottom. Just press it right there into that crease, fill in any areas where your cutting may have been off a bit. Make it nice and solid. All right. Now, excuse me. Let's decide now. Oh, we gotta put the other wall up. That's what we need to decide. Floor line. This up with the side and the bottom. Press that in place. And now we go down along those seams again. There's the bottom. Hold that. Oh. That into place while it does its thing. Try not to glue it to your table, just to itself. Hold that long enough for that to start to set pretty good. Move up to the top a little bit here. That in. Don't worry about the gaps. They will be covered with our paper mixture. These little gaps in the walls will be taken care of eventually too. Sure if this is big enough to do this, but we're gonna find out. Nope, my clamps are not quite long enough. Alrighty, that's all put together. Top floor, bottom floor. And did you notice something I didn't do? I didn't put in the windows and door now, did I? Nope, I sure didn't. Yeah. So what we will have to do is we'll have to go ahead and cut those out now, and I'll show you how that looks when we get back. Okay, I've got a big window for the upstairs. I've got this window for the little kitchen area that's gonna go over here. This hole here, that's for the fireplace. And then of course we've got the front door and the window for there. It's gonna be a nice little cottage, I think, for a mouse. Nice little tiny spot. Yeah, alrighty. And you're saying, but Sue, it doesn't have a ceiling or a roof. You're right. Cereal box, packaging box, that's gonna be the roof for that. Gonna cut the flaps off, we're gonna measure it, and I'll show you what we do with that. You may notice here while I'm doing this, I've got this little box here of all the scraps that I'm cutting off, all the flaps and extras. I don't get rid of those. We're gonna use some of these still. It's all usable, right down to the circles we cut out of the windows and the doors. Okay, so I've got my cereal box, Frondy fruit snacks, fruit cookies, and see, I can just make this, I have this flat spot here that will fit the flat of this, and the rest I can just make come down and go around, like that. I may have to do a little fill-ins here in the corners in order to make it fit right, or cut these down a little bit, and that's fine too. It's not really going to take away from the amount of space I have up there to work. So let me get these cut down so that this will fit proper, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, I got those cut down. Let's see if this is gonna do a better job of rolling over there. It sure will. Look at that. That's gonna be a cute little roof. Okay, let me get that glued on. We'll see what it looks like all together. Okay, I've got the one side on. I got the top done. I'm just doing a fine line. If I can get my glue stick to work here. Fine line down along that edge. Around the curved edge, and then I'm holding it there for a minute. Just let it get set. Same time, I'm kind of bending this other side arm up right along that ledge a little bit. Just a little bit, just to help it along its way when we add the glue there. All right, so we'll hold that right at that junction. If I can get to it from this angle, here we go. Now, just right down in along and through that seam, along that seam line. We're going to do that, and then we're going to hold that in place. Like I say, we're going to bend up the edge just a touch. And go along the outside here. With our stability gluing. Just making sure there's a nice connection there all the way around. And like I say, any gaps and stuff, you don't need to worry about. Those are going to be filled up and taken care of. Now, if you're doing a bigger house than something like this, you're going to want to double layer all your cardboard for thickness, and then make sure the variegation goes in opposite directions. And you see these little ridges in here? You're going to want to make sure that those are going opposite directions for extra thickness and stability. If you're doing like my 1/12 scale, the big one back here, you're going to want 2 layers of cardboard for each of the walls, the floor, the base, all of that, just to make sure that it's extra stable. Since this one is so small, I'm not going to worry about it because 1 inch equals 3 feet on this thing. So I've got plenty of, it's plenty sturdy enough with all the layers that are going to go on top of everything to harden it up and make it more stable. I don't think I need to worry about it for one this size. So I'm not going to. That being said, let me get the Slurpee stuff together and I will show you how to make that to coat this. Okay, I've got some wood glue here. I like wood glue. It's got a natural hardener to it. You can use Mod Podge. It's also got a natural hardener to it. Or you can use just regular school glue, PVA glue. And you're going to want to take equal parts of your glue and water. I'm going to take about that much. I'm going to mix in about that much water too. And just blend it all up. Get that all mixed in real good. Let me show you here. You'll end up with something that looks like this. Like I say, some people add some drywall in there. You can do it either in powdered form or in the pre-made form. I have some here, but it's all dried out. I've got to get my other bin in order to do that. Take your tissue paper. I've got Christmas tissue paper here. I've got white. I've got red. Just left over from the holidays. Just tear off a piece. Take some of your glue and water mixture. Brush it on. Lay your paper down. And you're going to give the whole thing, I like doing, especially if I'm only doing 1 layer of cardboard, I like to give it 2 or 3 layers of the paper. Just like you would for a piñata or something like that, just to help give it one smooth, even, uniform surface. Not different cardboards, different paper types, nothing. This makes it all one. All uniform, all even. And that will make it easier for painting and putting our shingles and everything else we're going to do to this on there. Get yourself pieces. Lay it on there, overlap the edges, and keep going. I'm not worried too much about wrinkles on the roof or anything like that because they're going to get covered with shingles. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect. This can be whatever you want it to be. Are you making a little shop? What are you making? Let me know down in the comments. I'm interested to know. I'd also like to know what else you'd like to see me do. I am new to this, so forgive the bad cinematography. Forgive the bad lighting. I am just getting set up and I am trying to find spots and places where the lighting is conducive to what I need to do. It's not always, but you know, we all have those issues that we got to deal with. So, and as always, please like, share, subscribe, all that. Hit the little bell button down there so that you get notified every time I put a new little something up. I hear the algorithm really likes when people do that, so please do. And I'm excited to be crafting with y'all. I really am. I made a promise to a friend that I would start this channel. And let me tell you, it's a little intimidating. It really is to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to be a YouTuber at 57 years old. I mean, come on. I'm not young. I'm a grandma. I'm a great grandma. I am a great grandmother. Yes, that's right. And I thought it was time to start passing stuff on to everybody else. To the grandchildren, to the kids out there that don't have grandmas that do this stuff or ever did this stuff, or that, you know, were gone before they had a chance to let them teach them the stuff. I'm happy to be that person these days. I want to be the grandma that does all the crafting, shows you how to do all the cool stuff. Make your own clothes, do some knitting, do some crocheting, all kinds of crafts. I mean, you know, I don't do just one thing. Most crafters don't do just one thing. Most crafters do a lot of different things. And so I want to show that. I do a lot of them. I have things I don't do that I have friends that do them. And I have gotten a couple of them to agree to come on and show us what they do. Maybe do a collaboration or something where we each work on something and then we show it at the end. You know, I'm new to this, so I'm still learning all the ropes. But there are things that, you know, will be done. There's things that may not get done, but you know, that's okay. That's life. Sometimes we get everything done that we want to do. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes things work out the way we want them to and how we imagine them, and everything just comes together and it's brilliant. Other times, not so much. And you know what? That's okay. Because if you don't have those other times, well, then you can't appreciate the ones that come together and do what you want them to do the first time, now can you? No, you can't. So I'm just going to go around the whole house and cover this over with the tissue paper, making sure that I am going over each of the joints, making sure the paper covers each of those joints that I put the extra glue and stuff on. And I'm just, I'm going to do this, and then we'll move on to where we go from here. But like I say, this is day one. This is what we've gotten done so far. I'm going to get this all wrapped up, and we will see you on day two. Alrighty.